Perfect. Hey guys, it's Captain Daniel Kim, and today I'm with Gandhi. So his Instagram is Echelon Gandhi. So this is a friend. I want to make a good introduction for him because honestly, like a lot of people in the dating industry doesn't know about Gandhi, but he's the one who kind of started off my whole journey in LA where at the time, remember social circle game was this big thing where like the only way to get hot girls is to know social circle, and one of the best ways to meet women were promoting. And I remember Gandhi was the first person who let me become a promoter, right? And I hated the job, by the way, but I saw the skills of a man who is an Asian man, right? Whenever I say Asian brothers, I actually include Indian guys, but our cultures are in a way still different. But I remember I met Gandhi and his brothers and even his mother, and I just saw this guy have it, right? I'm just like, dude, this guy just like there's just moments where he would talk to men and women. And this is about the attraction I'm talking about. A lot of men only think attraction comes from women. No, this dude, there's this moment where I saw him, we're eating a burger, and he just like sold a guy to like help him out and come to his club, a dude, and he was like an influencer at the time. You remember that guy, paintball guy, bearded Joe. And I
Yeah.
just saw him like get his Instagram, and the guy asked for Gandhi's Instagram. Every guy wants girls or guys to be like, because I've been through this where they're like, "What's your Instagram?" Right? So I know I want to bring Gandhi into this because I feel like he doesn't have a presence out there about confidence and attraction. Because I don't know if you're natural about it, and we're gonna go over this, but he just has this presence, dude. Everyone that Gandhi meets, they only talk highly things about him. He has girls DMing him. You could go check out his Instagram. You could tell it's an attractive Instagram. And yeah, I just wanted him to share, especially for his Indian brothers, because I feel like no matter how Asian I am, I can't relate to what Indian guys go through, especially in the West. So, guys, welcome Gandhi. He's the man, the myth, the legend. Everyone knows him in OC and the LA area. So yeah, what's up, Gandhi? How you doing today, bro?
My man, DK, good job with the intro, brother. I appreciate it. I guess, what Danny talked about was, when we met, there was just some sort of attraction, just energy wise between both of us. And ever since we've met, we've always kind of stayed in touch, even though he's on the other side of the world.
You did come
And
visit me though.
that's true. He's
Yeah,
behind me. Let's be honest. I'm kidding. But
yeah.
to answer some of your questions, right? You look back, you talk about kind of the struggles of the Asian man. I would say, growing up, to be honest with you, I wouldn't say I was the most confident person. I was pretty insecure. I always, when I was 12, 13, 14, had visions of what I wanted to be. So I told myself early on, doesn't matter where I came from, doesn't matter my financial status, I want to be that person. I don't know if
Mhm.
you've ever felt this way, Danny, where when you were a kid, you were like, hey, when I'm older, I want to be this man,
Yeah.
right? So every decision that I made 16, 17, 18 in my early 20s was how do I make a decision? How do I improve my life consistently in all realms? That's the man that I wanted to be. I wanted to be somebody that is physically fit, financially secure,
Mhm.
socially positive influence for those that he cares about. And for me, energy is super important. So that's something that I wanted to master in all realms of life is be very well rounded. So everything I did as a kid was how do I become that person?
So I have a question on that because this obviously is it's not like a business podcast or a business video or like other things, right? But
Yeah.
so for me, one thing I noticed about you, Bhrigu, is that or Gandhi is that you focus on these other aspects in your life, and you're the only person in terms of because for me, I was bullied too, but I was bullied for being Asian and fat. And you
Uh-huh.
still, it's interesting how your backstory is still, you don't bring up the negative. I always do. I say, I'm Asian and fat. I got bullied for that. You just said you were bullied. And that's an interesting concept I just caught from you is that you never really talk about the negatives of your past, even though you had a negative experience. But in terms of pure dating or attracting women, you never, every time I met you, you really don't talk about game. It's like you just have it, you just have it. So you kind of focus on other things, right? I think right now you're business focused, career focused, networking focused. But when did like women come into your life? To be honest, like, did you always have charm skills? I know you're a good looking Indian guy. Like, to be honest, guys, whoever watches this, like, Ruger's really tall, right? He's really tall. Ghani's really tall. He's a good
So,
looking guy. But
it's interesting
when
that you
did,
say that. I don't mean to
yeah,
cut you off, but
yeah.
I would say I've always been that person. where whether it's a business meeting or whether I'm dating somebody, I'm the person that will say very inappropriate things. What
Okay.
most men won't say or they're afraid to say, I will just say it. So that's someone as a kid growing up, I've always been that person. So I think that ability of not holding back, sheared with just the sheer confidence of me just being the most confident person, I would just do things that I'm like, would most men do this? And if the answer was no, I would do it. So part of kind of developing confidence is I created a YouTube channel, right? Where I was, to be quite honest with you, I went up to random women and started hitting on them, trying to get them to kiss me. And to be honest with you, it's something that I was like, oh fuck, I don't know if I want to do this. But I always told myself the things that you don't want to do are ultimately the things that yield the highest reward. So whether that's
Yeah.
business, whether that's socially, whether that's intimately with women, it's something that
Yeah.
I've learned. It always yields the highest return.
So I have a question on that too. Okay, so this guy. Do you hear this guy? Like he's just confident, right? So you never mentioned. So let's bring race into this a little bit because for me, I
Okay.
teach mostly Asian men, and the reason why I brought you in, as much as I don't think I know you're Indian, but I feel like you don't really care that you're Indian. Like you love your Bollywood movies, you love your Indian food, but like you never talk about being Indian, and it's not like you're not prideful of being Indian. You just don't wanna. You just never talk about it. Me, on the other hand, I talk about Asian masculinity not being Asian. And I had some students say, like, what if that's just a limiting belief? But for me and my reality, you can't say a little kid had a limiting belief of being Asian. I got called chink. I got called a lot of names for playing the violin. But you, on the other hand, you literally act like a guy. Like, dude, I'm just a guy. Like, I'm just Bhrigu and I'm just gonna go kill it out there. And even the YouTube video, right? A lot of Asian guys struggle where they feel like, man, like because they're Asian, like they're gonna be judged, right? And that already decreases the confidence a lot. But you went out there, like if you told me at your age, when you're in college, I think you did this, hey, just go out there and ask a girl to kiss. And I remember I even did a YouTube video with my friend. We had a good looking white guy and me go at it when I was at like my peak shape
Yeah.
and everything like that. And I always thought white guys had an advantage of me. But I just never seen you ever think that. So first, here's questions from the backstory, guys, because I feel like you guys got to know Bhrigu, why I brought him on, because he's the only guy who games so well but never learned game. Like I think
That's
Bhrigu,
funny. It's
yeah,
funny that you say this. I think it's true. But talking about your limiting beliefs, man, you know, obviously growing up, especially, during the period of 9/11, it's something that, we would get, harassed with, like, oh, X, Y, and Z. So I wouldn't say that I didn't encounter certain things. I've just always been a naturally positive person. So, I had a meeting like a few days ago where somebody was talking about, hey, I asked him, hey, is there anything that we can improve on as an organization? He mentioned some issues, right? And I simply said, look, I'm somebody where I know it's not perfect, but I'm just going to look at the positive. So similarly, we all have flaws. And I don't know, my entire life, I've just always said, hey, I'm just going to focus on the positive. I'm just going to focus on the person that I want to be. I don't want to make any excuses because as a man, I feel like it's our duty to just always move forward, right? So I think your story it's not a limiting belief for you. I think it's more relatability, meaning you mention a lot of these things mainly because you want people to hear your story. And I think if I was in a similar predicament as you, similar profession, I would probably do the same, right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
that's probably why I've never expressed it fully, to be
Yeah.
honest with you. And I don't know if I answered your question or you want to do a follow up on that.
No, no, that did in a way because I know here's the thing. Why me and actually Gandhi connected was because of Andrew Tate, right? And I know there's a lot of things going on with him, and everyone has their own opinions. But we kind of both mentioned it's like we both like. So I wouldn't say I look up to him. I'm more into like I want there to be another Asian Andrew Tate, and not in
Mhm.
like a negative connotation, but I think for me, and I'm bringing race into it because you're right, my audience is mostly Asian guys watching this.
Yeah.
As Asian men, we're quiet, right? I was told get the BMW, get the nice house, get whatever. And I did. I literally lived that lifestyle in Santa Monica, and the girls
I
would just
remember.
come and people respect you. But I realized there's no. so like what Andrew Tate says, physical presence and all that stuff. But I've been lately preaching to all my clients and also videos is like, you actually need to be more. Because here's the thing about Andrew Tate, and this is where I want you to disagree with me also, Bhrigu, if you have your own thoughts on this. But Andrew Tate's 6'3", 6'4". His brother's 6'4", bro. And they talk about
Yeah.
physical presence. And they're like, well, don't use a limiting belief that you're short. Work out, go in and have that. Some student, actually the student who kind of encouraged me to do this, he said executive presence. If you're
Yeah.
6'4" and you're white and you're jacked and you go into a room, they're gonna be like, oh shit, that's somebody. And also the Tate brothers, they worked on themselves. But for me to tell an Asian guy who has none of that, but he doesn't even have the confidence, I need to build him up, right? I need to tell him like, do this, do that. I can't just be like, and this is where you could give me your
Yeah.
thoughts. And my question is that.
I think doesn't matter where, at the end of the day, there's things you can change in life. There's things you can't. Height, unfortunately, you can't, right?
Yeah.
So wherever you're at in life, if you know that, hey, I'm in a place where I'm not happy, I'm not confident, I'm not achieving my social, physical, mental, financial goals, then you need to figure out how I can get there. And you got to take baby steps to consistently improve your life. It doesn't matter if you're short, doesn't matter if you're outrageously tall, because at the end of the day, you can be insecure by being outrageously tall, right? So you just need to always consistently figure out, hey, these are the cards I'm dealt with. How do I play them to my best ability? Right. So part of that is every man, I wholeheartedly believe, should hit the gym regardless of the situation. So I do agree with him.
Agreed.
You need to create a presence. And part of that is going to the gym. When you go to the gym, your shoulders are going to be a little broader. You're going to command it, even if you're short, a bigger presence than you would if you didn't. The second thing I know Tate talks about is every man needs to work on themselves. So the second part is, look, if you don't have the aesthetic as, the true Hollywood actor, then compensate in other realms, meaning get so much massive success financially and socially with your presence and your positive energy that people want to hang around you. You command a presence in that regard. So that's my view on it personally. I don't know if you want me to kind of dive into it a little bit more.
I'm going to actually, so let's go back to what you said. Okay, so let's say you have, and obviously this is for a student of mine, right? Let's say you have an Asian student, or let's say you have little Gandhi. Little Gandhi's going through this, right? He's going through whatever you're going through. But I'm going to give you some handicaps, okay? I'm going to give you some handicaps because remember, it's easy for a student to look at me and you and be like, oh, you look like girls. Even though we worked our butts off, they're still going to say that. It's called we worked on ourselves. So let's say you're short, you're 5'5", okay? Because this is how I try to train my clients. I try to be in their shoes. You're 5'5", you have an Indian accent. Right? You kind of have like a huge, like, let's just be honest, like you're the typical like Indian guy. And I always got bothered by this, but Apu from Simpsons, you're the younger version of him. No, I mean, just be honest. You're the younger version.
I understand what you're saying. You're basically, I get it. Cultures are different. Probably somebody that moved from India to the US, I'm assuming.
Yeah. So that's your not handicap. I don't want to say it's handicap. It's not a handicap. It's a fucking blessing. I think immigrants have the best mindset sometimes. So I won't say it's a handicap, but let's just add that into your identity.
You're telling me these are your cards. How do you play?
Yes.
Okay. The first thing I would do, regardless of everything, if you're able-bodied, right, and you're blessed to be able-bodied, you should always hit the gym, regardless of your situation. Doesn't matter if you have zero muscle. Like I couldn't bench the bar when I went to the gym, right? I had to get a spotter. So to be honest with you, I was born very weak in my family, born a vegetarian, everybody was born skinny. So that those are the cards you dealt with. So the first thing I would tell anybody is go to the gym. It's going to give you a clearer head. One, and number two, if you work and do 120% at the gym, you're going to get results. Maybe it might take 2 or 3 years, but at least you're working on yourself. And at least when you go home, you look at the mirror and say, hey, I got better today, right? That's the first thing I would do. The second thing is confidence is, the way I look at confidence is you kind of need to trick your mind. To be a confident person, you need to figure out what are your limiting beliefs, what are things that make you insecure, and how you can work on that. For me, for example, right? I actually just had a girl text me saying, hey, I want to fuck, right?
Yeah. That happens.
I told her 9:30, right? And
Yeah.
ultimately in this situation, right, for me, she's gonna come over. I showered, but I'm somebody where I need to make sure that my bed's done. Everything is clean. That's just me naturally. It's just as a man, I wouldn't feel right if I had a woman come over and my room was messy, my bed wasn't made, and I had, dinner out in my dining table. That's just how I am. So
Yeah.
you just got to figure out what type of person you are. If you're like me and you're somebody where you need to have everything clean, then you need to make sure that you're prepared, right? So I think confidence comes in preparation. So
Hmm.
you need to figure out what are things that you need to do for you to feel the best. Okay. And that might mean a combination of you going to the gym. Number two, you doing things that you don't want to do, which if you're scared to talk to a woman, then what you need to do is take Danny, take myself, and you're going to go out there. We're going to film you approaching random strangers. It doesn't matter if you're successful or you're not. I just want you to go to bed that night and for the following week think, wow, I fucking did something that I was so scared to do. And slowly, as
Yeah.
you start doing that repetitively, you're going to start building more confidence. So
Yeah.
that's just the way I look at life, man. I look at it like you're dealt a set of cards. Not everybody, transforms into an amazing person. But
Yeah.
I do think that it's something that you work towards. If you look at all the successful people out there, let's look at Andrew Tate, for example. If you met him 20 years ago, I would have probably,
Hmm.
to be honest, you say, oh, this guy's a fucking doofus, respectfully,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Maybe he's a fighter, but still, it's like, oh, this guy's a fucking fighter. That's all he's going to contribute to. Like, what a loser. That's me personally, right? So everybody is working on themselves. So if I look at myself a decade ago, I would be like, oh man, like I wonder what this guy's going to do with his life. You know what I'm saying? So similarly with
Yeah.
you, a decade ago, right? You were heavier set, you were shy, you were timid, you weren't fit, you
Yeah.
didn't have a six pack, jacked, right? You're still kind of ugly, but a little better. I'm kidding. Uh, but
uh, love you, bro.
but
Um,
that's what I'm talking about. So whatever cards you're dealt with, guys, you just got to look at it like I can't fucking change it. So you got to
yeah.
do things to figure it out. If you have curved teeth, go to fucking Smile Direct Club and get Invisalign. It might take 1 or 2 years, but at least you're working on yourself and you know that you're
Yeah.
setting yourself in a position to get there. And I think the
Yeah.
last thing that most men fail to account for is
Yeah.
financial. I think it's such an important aspect as a man and confidence, meaning if there's certain things that you feel like you lack in life, you
Yeah.
can be like, hey, I'm going to work extremely hard. I'm going to put 12, 15, 18-hour days, work on myself financially so that I can do whatever the fuck I want to do.
Yeah. Did you do Invisalign, by the way?
No, I had braces when I was a kid.
Okay, I'm thinking about doing Invisalign. No, I'm a big believer of that. So all those things, I 100% agree, right? I'm working on that last one, the financial side, because it's
Your teeth
interesting
look
though.
nice though,
Actually,
bro.
yeah, but I have like one that like goes back, and it never bothered me
No,
until like more TV stuff that I've been doing, right? So I want to like
oh,
fix it.
that makes sense. I respect
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I actually agree with everything just Gandhi said. First, the gym's been huge, but here's an honest acknowledgement of you, okay? And I never said this, and I'm not trying to kiss your ass, okay? But one thing I've told about you to other people, so we have mutual friends, my best friend Long and also Vin. I said this about
Yeah.
you. I'm like, bro, something about Gandhi, because I remember you were trying to maybe get Long to work for you and stuff, and I said you should have worked for Gandhi. Because one thing here's an honest truth, Gandhi, and I think with you kind of in your own world, you take care of your employees. It's more like you focus, and this is my perception, okay? You focus on you first. You are going to be successful. You're going to do what you got to do. For me, my success is kind of based on other people's success. I got to make other people successful so then I'm
Yeah.
successful, and that's where they pay me or I get referrals, all that stuff. So it's a very interesting concept where like I can't just be like thinking about me. I have to think about how to make them successful, which makes me successful. So on that note, I always knew you were gonna be somebody. The way you talk, the way you just acted, and the way you truly, and this is one thing, whoever's listening to this video, one thing about Gandhi that I'm learning from, and I want to open up to you because I actually got bothered, but what you said, not who you are. But you told me, hey, Danny, don't mention how much I make. And I remember I got offended by that. I might have hurt your feelings. Or I said something that pissed you off. But then I realized you just said it just to say it. You weren't trying to say it to be like, hey bro, stop fucking talking about how much money I make in a bad way. You're just saying, dude, stop talking about my money. And I was like, I took it personally because I cared about what you thought about me. But one thing about you guys, listen to this. The best thing you get out of this video, why I think Gandhi's successful with women, especially because that's what the focus, and why he's confident is he truly doesn't care what other people think about him. At least that's what I felt. I feel like he doesn't apologize for being him. And that's something that I've seen with a lot of I would say guys who just have it. And I'll be honest with you, Gandhi, I don't have that yet. Because for me, I grew up with such a environment where I was always told you can't do something. My parents called me overweight. I love my parents, but they always said you're overweight. Bullies told me you're not that. I literally, so you got walked around where you kind of still thought you're attractive. I literally had a bully take me and him, walk around each person, ask them who's better looking, and they all picked the bully. So I lost 30-0. So when you hear that, or you have a girl like legit cry because
Yeah.
she knew I liked her, it's
But
very hard.
on the flip side, the
Yeah.
beauty about life is, and for everybody here, is the beauty about life is time changes, right?
Yes.
So for me personally, I
Yeah.
laugh at situations like that because it's funny, dude. Like that's part of think about it. Part of being
Yeah.
a successful man, in my opinion, part of being a successful man is when you get to a certain level financially, physically, socially, you look back and you're like, dude, remember the times that I couldn't lift the bar? Remember the times
Yeah.
that I had to call into that receipt to get a free bean and cheese burrito? Remember that time where we were sitting there talking about our dreams and our aspirations and we fucking did it? Like, I think
Yeah.
that's the best part of as you grow into the person that you become, you look back
Yeah.
and you ultimately laugh about those situations. Like, I think it's funny, like the fact that you're talking about 30-0, like I
But
think
that's the mindset. That's the mindset that, dude, honestly, Gandhi, one of the reasons I also want to do the video is because you have this mentality, bro. Okay, like don't you're gonna get cocky, but I'm just gonna still tell you because you have that mindset that I've seen. So I studied guys who have 10 game or guys who are getting all the hot girls. So usually they're like
yeah,
Cristiano Ronaldo, Pete Davidson, who's been getting a lot of hot girls, Michael Jordan, Derek
that's right.
Jeter, and yeah, Andrew Tate was one of them. So all the guys who really don't care what people think and they really just do what they want to do,
Yeah.
they're the one who gets it. Like I'm telling you, for me, it's like that's one of my biggest things that I'm going to work on, and it's being fixed right now as you speak. It's like really not caring what other people think.
You want to
But
know
it's
something, dude? I
yeah,
didn't mean to interrupt. I think if you look at all those people that you named, a lot of their confidence is also attributed to success. Not
yeah,
only like
100%.
but there's a financial element to that as well. So honestly, bro, like I don't know. I don't really dissect or really think about it, but I guess yeah, I am pretty unapologetic. I don't really think about, I mean, not that I don't care about other people's feelings, but yeah, I don't fucking think, oh, what about this? Or am I going to offend them? I'm just like, hey, is this the right thing to do? Do I think it's morally correct? I'm going to do it. Right. So that's
Yeah,
how I'm in. And to be honest with you, I actually, it's funny what you say, like, I do have a lot of women that dislike me. Like every time I'm dating a woman, her friends just don't like me.
yeah,
Um,
but it's because you don't care. Here's the thing about Uganda. You are gonna be 1%. I'm telling you right now. In this video, remember this. I'll record this and you'll see on YouTube. You're gonna be a 1%er. I could tell just the way you act. It's not what you think. I see a lot of people think and talk, and we see them in LA. We have mutual
yeah.
friends. A lot of people think and talk. You're one of the few people that sometimes don't even think, you just act. Like you just do it.
Yeah,
So
I'm all about
one,
doing it.
yeah,
It's funny that Andrew Tate talks about speed, dude. I
yeah,
think like just acting with speed and just being sheer fast is
yeah.
crucial.
So this is my question to you though, right? So I have students who honestly, Gandhi, there's a reason where there's 1%, right? The one
Yeah,
percenters do something or they want it as bad. Like Andrew Tate looked at a Ferrari and he got mad over that. Why can't have it?
true,
Some people
true.
don't. So this is where I can't, because I personally hear that message and I'm like, yeah, you're right. I want that fucking Aston Martin. I want a penthouse suite. I want to buy my Mont Chanel bag. I want to fly a first class. But I also realize there's some people that already work their ass off to become doctors, lawyers, and engineers. And
Yeah,
for me to tell them, don't work on, because think about it. Andrew Tate would be like, fuck pickup coaches. invest that money into business, invest that money into his program or something that will help your business and whatever. But I actually disagree, not in a way to make myself more. I actually thought about this. Most guys are not going. It's not that they want to be average, and you're right. It's that they already spend a lot of time doing what other people told them to do,
I
right?
agree.
And they don't have the social skills that you and me cultivated. For me, I went the whole gamer. I spent all my money in game. You went into more business, but I think you always had it. You always had it, bro. I saw you in also college. Someone told me you
To
had it
be
in college
honest
too.
with you, I genuinely think every man, it's their duty to invest into being a better man. So to be honest with you, there was a lot of motivational videos that I would watch of men that I aspire to be. People like Grant Cardone, stuff like that. So I did invest into self-development. It's not just business and entrepreneurship. I did invest into figuring out how I can be that person. So I would watch videos on YouTube on quick tricks on how to become a more charismatic, confident person. So I'm not going to say that everything is natural. I would say that I'm a student of life. So I'm not going to say, hey, I'm at my peak X, Y, and Z. What I will tell you is I'm always learning. So every man out there, if you're struggling with confidence, you're struggling with figuring out how to interact with a woman, how to be comfortable around men and women, then invest. And
Yeah,
that portion of that means you got to invest financially, right? And at the end of the day, you might think it's a lot at the time, but I will tell you this: when you look a decade down the road, when you're a multimillionaire, are you really going to look at yourself in the mirror and say, dude, I wasted $5,000-6,000 on that program? No, you're not, right? I can assure you
yeah,
that. So if you're sad, you're depressed, you're not happy with your life, the best thing that you can do is invest in yourself. Okay.
yeah,
And part of that is becoming a better man. And part of becoming a better man is getting in better shape, being able to get the woman or man that you desire, and getting, mentally aware, getting mentally secure. I think that's all important. And, the financial aspect is a cherry on top. That's,
yeah,
so I'm not disagree with you. I think it's completely, utterly important. And I know you mentioned something, and I want to kind of go back. You talked about kind of some pain points and stuff like that. The reason why I chose a certain route was, to be completely honest with you, Danny, I don't think I really told a lot of people. I remember when I was 18 years old, um, there was this woman that I truly loved, right? And I remember, when you're a kid, parents are like, "Hey, what do you do? Where are you going to school? What do you want to be?" I remember getting
yeah.
interrogated by that individual's mother, right? And
Especially Asian
they
parents.
they were at a level financially that, I wasn't born. Like, people looked at my mom, because my mom was a single mother, and were like, oh, like, in a bad light, because, we weren't the most financially X, Y, and Z. So I remember she would say things that were very condescending to me. And being an 18-year-old man, there was nothing I could really say, right? Because I couldn't justify it. So I remember being in that situation. And one, I told myself, hey, no matter what happens in life, I'm never going to be in the situation again where I can't dictate my circumstances. Number two, if I get to a certain place in life financially, I'm never going to put somebody down because of their status. So all of those things did fuel me, Danny, to be honest with you. I think those were contributing factors of why I wanted to be that person, right? So when I look at life, when I'm driving my car, I genuinely am happy with the man that I am, because I look at, like, a decade ago, right? At 18 years old, I'm 28 now. I look at my 18-year-old self and what I desired in life, who I wanted to be. When you sleep, you think of, okay, this is the man that I want to be. I want to live here, live this, embody this lifestyle, be this
Mhm.
guy with men. I would say I am genuinely happy. And it wasn't that I was born with it. It was over the last decade, every day, every month, year over year, quarter after quarter, I am working on myself.
Mm. Bro,
Okay.
I can see why people do podcasts because till this, our friendship, and I'm not saying our friendship was shallow, but we never got this deep, bro. And my respect for you, because I actually thought you were just a robot, to be honest. I'm like, this guy just has it, he just goes it. But for me to hear that side, and I really want people to hear this side, like most people who are successful, they go through something traumatizing. And I know you kind of just say it to say it, but there's a lot of pain there that a lot of guys can know, right? It doesn't have the exact same story, but bro, I've been condescended where like I remember the similar stories where like I was at the Air Force Academy and we all like our freshman year we get recognized. And I remember three seniors didn't salute me and they said, "You don't deserve to be in this school."